The boast of conquerors the galaxy was alive with noise and light. In the grand hall of the Zoroth Empire, thousands of alien leaders gathered. They were tall creatures with long arms, cold silver eyes, and voices that echoed like thunder. The hall itself stretched for miles, filled with glowing banners and golden statues of alien warriors. Each statue showed victory, and every victory was against one race after another. At the very center stood the supreme overlord of the Zorath, a creature with a crown of metal fused to his skull. His voice shook the walls as he raised his arms. "1 million years ago," he declared, "we ended the greatest war in history. Humanity fought with fire, with stubborn courage, but in the end, we conquered them. Earth is no more. Humanity is no more." The crowd roared. Thousands of alien throats released a sound like rolling thunder. The sound of celebration echoed into the vast dome above. For them, humanity was only a story now, a warning told to young alien children. Do not be reckless like humans. Do not fight against destiny. The aliens laughed at the idea that humans had ever resisted. They remembered Earth as a burning world, cities falling, human ships torn apart. To them, it was history. To them, it was finished. Yet, among the crowd, a few alien scholars did not laugh. They whispered to one another in hushed tones. Records were not always complete. Whole archives of the human conquest had been lost over time, and some whispers spoke of strange things, synced signals, old ruins that seemed alive. One scholar, a thin alien with black markings across his face, stood up. He spoke with a nervous voice. "My lords, my queen, my emperor, forgive me. But there is something we cannot ignore. For centuries, scanners at the edge of Sector 12 have reported strange pulses. They come from a system where Earth once was. These pulses carry patterns, and sometimes human voices." The laughter in the hall died down. The Supreme Overlord turned his silver eyes toward the scholar. "Human voices?" he asked with a dangerous calm. "Yes," the scholar replied. "Old words, old warnings, sometimes even music." The hall shook again, but this time with anger. One warlord slammed his fist on the table, cracking the stone. "Impossible. Earth is dust. We burned it. We left nothing behind." Another general shouted, "If humans had survived, they would have shown themselves long ago." But the scholar did not sit down. His voice grew stronger. "With respect, my lords, I do not think Earth ever died. What if they hid? What if humanity was never defeated at all?" The words spread through the hall like fire through dry grass. Some aliens laughed bitterly, but others fell silent. Fear touched their minds. They remembered the human soldiers who never surrendered. They remembered battles where humans fought even when all hope was gone. The Supreme Overlord raised his arm again, silencing the noise. "Then we will see the truth for ourselves," he said coldly. "If ghosts of Earth still whisper, we will silence them once more. Send a fleet. Send 10 fleets. We will crush whatever remains." The command echoed across the galaxy. War drums sounded. Ships as large as moons were prepared. Engines burned like suns as they set their course toward the forgotten system. But deep in space, near the blue planet they once called Earth, shadows moved. Hidden machines, older than empires, opened their eyes. For 500,000 years, they had waited, they had watched, and now they were listening. The forgotten world, the alien fleet cut through the void like knives of fire. 10 massive warships, each the size of mountains, moved together. Their hulls glowed with golden marks, and their engines burned blue, tearing open the silence of space. This was not just a mission, it was a message. The Zorath Empire wanted to remind the galaxy that no ghost could stand against them. At the front of the fleet, Commander Vela stood tall inside the control chamber. His body was covered in black armor, and his cold silver eyes stared at the star map ahead. He had studied the old records of Earth's fall. He remembered how humans had fought like wild animals, refusing to kneel even when their cities burned. 500,000 years, Vela whispered, his voice sharp. And still, their shadows disturb our empire. Beside him, a young officer shifted nervously. Commander, what if the whispers are true? What if Earth survived? Vela's lips curved into a cruel smile. Then we will finish what our ancestors began. Humanity will finally be erased. The fleet entered the solar system. One by one, the ancient planets appeared on the screen's giant Jupiter, icy Saturn, the broken remains of Mars. But as Earth came into view, the hall of officers fell silent. Earth was not a grave. From space, the planet glowed like a jewel. The oceans were deep blue, brighter than the archives remembered. Forests stretched wider than they should, covering vast continents. Strange lights pulsed from the surface, not the ruins of old cities, but something else, something alive, the young. Officer whispered, almost in fear, This world is not dead. Vela narrowed his eyes. Scan it. I want every inch of that planet mapped. The scanners hummed, sending waves of energy across the Earth. The results returned in bursts of numbers and images. They showed mountains, carved into perfect lines, valleys shaped like enormous circuits, and oceans that shimmered with strange patterns. This is not natural, one scientist muttered. The planet has changed. Vela stared at the images. He did not like what he saw. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was something more. The fleet moved closer. From the observation deck, the aliens saw ruined cities, half buried under forests, yet the ruins still glowed faintly, as if the stones themselves held power. Gigantic monuments rose from the ground, statues of humans, carved into mountain faces, their eyes glowing with hidden energy. Suddenly, one of the warships shook violently. The alarms screamed. Commander, something just struck us, shouted. An officer. Vela turned sharply. What weapon? Where did it come from? No weapon, the officer replied, panic in his voice. It was light, a beam of light from the surface, but the scanners detect no source. Another ship was hit next, then another. Brilliant white beams cut across space, striking with precision, yet no weapon could be seen. The planet looked quiet, peaceful, but it was not. Vela clenched his fists. Shields up, return fire. The warships unleashed their cannons. Beams of red plasma rained down toward Earth. Explosions lit the skies, shaking the atmosphere. But the planet did not burn. The energy was absorbed by invisible walls of light, shields stronger than anything the Zorath Empire had ever seen. This is impossible, one officer gasped. A dead world cannot defend itself. Vela's silver eyes grew darker. This world is not dead. Humanity is hiding. The fleet moved into orbit, circling Earth like vultures around a prey that refused to die. The officers whispered to one another in fear. No humans appeared, yet the planet's silence felt alive. It was watching them as night fell across half the Earth. Something strange happened. From the dark side of the planet, a pulse of energy, spread out like a heartbeat. It was deep, low, and powerful. The pulse struck every ship, shaking their cores. Screens flickered, lights dimmed. Ancient human words appeared across the alien monitors, written in glowing text. "You should not have come." The message repeated in dozens of languages: Russian, Chinese, Arabic, and more. Languages long dead, yet alive in the machines. The alien officers froze. Fear crawled into their bones. "Commander," the young officer whispered, trembling, "this planet is speaking to us." Vela did not answer. His eyes stayed locked on Earth. He felt the weight of a terrible truth pressing against his mind. Humanity had not been destroyed. They had not been conquered. They had simply gone silent, waiting, watching, preparing, and now something was waking up. The awakening Supremacy. The alien fleet circled Earth like predators. But inside their ships, fear was spreading like poison. The mysterious message still glowed on every screen. "You should not have come." The words refused to vanish. No matter how many times engineers reset the systems, the message returned, glowing brighter each time. Commander Vela stood in silence, his fists tight at his side. He was known as a warlord who feared nothing but this. This was different. He had fought rebels, pirates, even entire civilizations, but never a planet that spoke back. "Trace it," he ordered sharply. "Find where the signal comes from." The officers worked quickly, scanning every continent, every ocean, every fragment of ruin. At last, one scientist spoke with a trembling voice. "Commander, the signal is everywhere. It is coming from the entire planet. Earth itself is speaking." The words sent shivers through the chamber. The crew looked at one another with wide silver eyes. Before Vela could respond, the ship shook again. A deep vibration ran through the walls, rattling the bones of every alien aboard. Outside, Earth's oceans began to glow. From the dark waves rose massive structures of shining metal, towers reaching toward the sky. They were not ruins. They were machines, alive and awake after 500,000 years of silence. "Impossible," whispered one officer. "No technology lasts this long." The towers pulsed with light, sending ripples across space. The alien scanners read impossible numbers, energy levels greater than entire suns. "Shields at maximum," Vela barked. "Do not let them strike again." But before the shields could even adjust, 3 of the warships vanished. No explosions, no fire, just silence. They were there one moment and gone the next. Their empty positions in space glowed faintly, like shadows burned into reality. "Commander," an officer screamed. "Ships 2, 4, and 7 are gone." Erased, Vela's chest grew heavy. His empire had fought countless battles, yet nothing had ever erased ships from existence. Another message appeared across the screens. This time accompanied by a voice. It was deep, human, and filled with cold power. "You ended our world. You laughed at our graves. For 500,000 years, we have watched. We were never defeated. We were preparing." The aliens froze. The voice was not coming from one place. It came from everywhere, every speaker, every channel, even echoing inside their own minds. The young officer who had doubted earlier fell to his knees, shaking. "It's them, the humans. They never died. They became something else." Forced himself to stand tall, though the fear pressed against him like a storm. "Humans are flesh and blood. This is nothing but a machine trick. He shouted, trying to hold control, but deep inside, he knew he was lying to himself. As the fleet struggled to hold formation, a strange energy began rising from Earth's surface. Mountains split open, revealing enormous hangars hidden beneath. Oceans boiled as colossal shapes emerged, dripping with water and fire. Human ships, but they were unlike anything in the old records. These were not fragile warships of steel and flame. They were living machines, their hulls glowing with shifting patterns of light, their wings stretching like blades of silver. They moved with silence, faster than thought. Rising into the void, they were waiting for us. One alien whispered. The first human ship appeared before the fleet, dwarfing even the Zorath flagships. It pulsed with quiet power, as if the stars themselves obeyed its command. On the alien screens, a human figure appeared. His face was made of light, a projection, but his eyes burned with something more terrifying than Firecom confidence. "You called yourselves conquerors," the human said, his voice echoing across every ship. "You burned our cities, destroyed our sky, and left us for dead. But you did not end us. You gave us time, time to grow, time to evolve, time to surpass you all." Vela stepped forward, rage mixing with fear. "You should not exist. Humanity was destroyed." The human projection smiled faintly. "Destroyed? No, changed." Then, without warning, the human ships moved. They cut through space with impossible speed. Beams of white energy struck the alien fleet, bypassing shields as if they did not exist. One by one, Zorath warships fell silent, their lights dimming. Their engines cold dot inside the Grand Hall, light years away. Alien leaders received the reports. The council that had once laughed now sat in stunned silence. Their greatest fleet, their pride, was being unmade in the command chamber of Vela's ship. Alarms screamed louder than ever before. Officers begged for retreat, but the controls no longer obeyed. Every system was locked, every engine frozen. Then came the final message: "We are humanity, we are Earth, and we were never conquered." The alien ships went dark. Outside, the human fleet spread its wings of light, surrounding Earth like guardians returning home. The galaxy had witnessed the first awakening of a supremacy hidden for 500,000 years, and this was only the beginning. Humanity's return. The alien fleet hung silent in Earth's orbit. Where once there had been 10 great warships, now only half remained, and even they were powerless. Their engines refused to move, their weapons were frozen, and their shields flickered like dying flames. Inside the command chamber, Commander Vela gripped the railing, his knuckles white against the black metal. His once proud officers stood in silence, staring at the screens with wide, fearful eyes. They were soldiers of the Zoroth Empire, conquerors of 1,000 worlds. Yet at this moment, they were like children standing before a storm. Across the void, the human fleet continued to rise. Ship after ship emerged from Earth's oceans, from mountains, even from deep beneath the crust. Each vessel glowed with patterns of light that shifted like living veins. They were larger than cities, yet moved with the speed of lightning. No fuel trails, no heat signatures, only silence and power. The young alien officer whispered, "They waited for us." All this time, they waited. The human projection returned, hovering in the air like a ghost made of fire. His voice was calm, almost gentle, but behind that calmness was the weight of a civilization reborn for 500,000 years. He said, "You believed us gone. But while you mocked, we prepared. We hid in the heart of our world, building what you could never imagine. And now we return not as prey, but as rulers of the stars. The words struck like thunder. Some alien officers fell to their knees, unable to look at the humans' burning eyes. Vaylor, trembling, forced himself to speak. You cannot rule. The galaxy belongs to the Zorath Empire. We have conquered all. The projection tilted his head, almost in amusement. Conquered. You mistake ashes for victory. You mistake silence for surrender. The galaxy does not belong to you. It belongs to those who endure. And we endured. As he spoke, the human ships began to spread out. They moved not only across Earth's orbit, but out into the solar system itself. Dozens of glowing vessels swept past Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, every planet, every moon, lit with pulses of energy. The system itself had become a fortress. The alien sensors went wild. "Commander," one scientist stammered, "the entire solar system. It is armed. Planets, moons, even asteroids. They are all weapons." Vaylor's mouth went dry. 500,000 years of silence, and humanity had turned their home into the greatest war machine in history. Then the human projection spoke again, his voice low but unshakable. "We do not seek war, but if war is brought to us, we end it." With a gesture of his hand, the crippled alien ships were released. Their controls lit up again, their engines roared back to life. The remaining warships drifted, broken but not destroyed. Humanity was showing mercy, or perhaps only making a point. "Return to your masters," the human said. "Tell them Earth was never conquered. Tell them humanity has returned." But even as the aliens prepared to flee, something greater began to unfold. The human fleet was not staying near Earth. With a soundless ripple, their ships stretched open gates of light, portals shimmering with stars inside. One by one, the vessels vanished into them, spreading out into the galaxy. The young officer's voice shook. "They are expanding, leaving Earth, spreading everywhere." Indeed, humanity was no longer hiding. Their ships leaped across the void, seeding every corner of space with their presence. Ancient colonies, long abandoned by the Zoroth, suddenly lit up with life again. Old human worlds, thought to be dead, came alive with shining domes and towering spires. The galaxy watched. Millions of racers, some slaves, some allies of the Zorath, saw the light of human ships in their skies. Whispers spread faster than fire. The humans are back. The Deathworlders never died. The true rulers of the stars have returned in the grand hall of the Zorath Empire. The alien lords who once laughed now sat pale and silent. Reports flooded, in fleets destroyed, colonies liberated, human banners rising where none had flown for 500,000 years. The supreme overlord slammed his fist against the throne, but his voice was weak. "No, this cannot be. We ended them, we ended them." But deep inside, he knew the truth. The humans had been patient, and patience was more terrifying than any weapon. Back in orbit, Vaylor watched in silence as Earth's great fleet disappeared into the stars. For the first time in his long life, he felt the weight of true defeat, not the defeat of battle, but of destiny. The human projection gave one final message before vanishing. This is not conquest, this is return. The galaxy belongs to all, but it begins with Earth. The screens went dark. The silence was heavy. The alien fleet drifted, broken and humiliated. And humanity, long hidden, spread its wings across the stars once more. Asterisk, the reckoning, the alien fleet limped home in silence. Their warships, once glowing with pride, were now scarred and trembling. Their crews did not cheer, did not sing. They carried with them a story no alien wanted to believe. Humanity had returned in the grand hall of the Zorath Empire. The alien rulers gathered again. The chamber that once echoed with laughter now shook with unease. Reports spread across the galaxy faster than light human fleets liberating colonies. Human banners raised on forgotten worlds, human voices speaking across every channel. We were never conquered. The supreme overlord sat on his throne of steel, his silver eyes burning with fury. Lies, he shouted, though his voice cracked, illusions. The humans cannot be stronger than us. But the council around him did not answer. They had seen the truth on their screens. They had heard the human voice that spoke like thunder. The Zorath were no longer feared. They were being hunted. Suddenly, the grand hall's walls flickered. The air shimmered like broken glass, and a figure appeared in the center. It was the human projection, tall and glowing with light. The alien lords froze, unable to breathe. You sit on stolen thrones, the human voice said, calm but merciless. You called yourselves conquerors, but you built your empire on ashes that were not yours. The supreme overlord rose to his feet, his voice shaking. You cannot threaten us here. This is the heart of the Zorath Empire. The human tilted his head as if amused. We are already here. At that moment, every screen, every crystal, display, every comline in the empire lit up with the same image, the glowing human face. Every soldier, every worker, every child saw it. The human message filled the galaxy. To every race who suffered under Zorath rule, rise, you are not alone. Humanity has returned, and the chains of the empire will break. Across 1,000 worlds, slaves raised their eyes to the stars. The words sparked fire in their hearts. For the first time in millennia, hope lived again. The overlord screamed, "No, you will not undo what we built." He raised his hand, signaling guards to strike the projection. But the soldiers hesitated. They had seen the destruction of the Zorath fleet. They had felt the human warning echo in their bones. One guard dropped his weapon, then another. Soon, the hall filled with silence, not loyalty, but fear. The empire was crumbling, not from human fire, but from within. The human projection stepped forward, his glowing eyes fixed on the overlord. We will not slaughter your people. Humanity is not like you. But your empire ends tonight. Outside, the hall, the skies lit up with impossible brilliance. Human ships appeared above the Zoroth capital, descending like gods of light. They did not fire. They did not need to. Their very presence was enough. The overlord fell to his knees, his crown of steel clattering to the floor. For the first time in history, the Zorath bowed. Across the galaxy, alien races who once feared the Zorath now whispered a new name: humanity. The human projection gave one final message before vanishing. We are not conquerors, we are survivors. We are builders, we are watchers of the stars. Remember this, Earth bows to none, and from this day forward, neither shall you. The projection faded. The hall stood in silence, broken by the echo of those words. And so began a new age. The Zorath Empire did not burn. It collapsed under the weight of its own fear. Worlds once enslaved rose into freedom, their skies filled with the light of human. Ships humanity did not rule with chains, but with presence. Wherever their fleets appeared, silence fell. No warlord dared speak of conquest again. 500,000 years of silence had ended. Humanity, the race once mocked as reckless and fragile, had returned as something unstoppable in the cold of space. In the silence between stars, every race whispered the same truth. Earth was never defeated. Humanity was waiting. And now, humanity ruled the stars.